Hello everybody and welcome to the Crypto Session Brief. We're on Wednesday the 15th of March 2023 and welcome to the wild and wacky world of cryptos. Incredibly volatile few days. BTC yesterday, I was reading this morning, over $300 million worth of liquidations in the past 24 hours. And to be honest, it's mixed messages here. Liquidation is basically when an exchange has to close a trader's leverage position, force it to be closed. More futures here due to partial or total losses of the entire initial margin. It happens when a trader is unable to meet the margin and then for a leveraged position. Basically, obviously, we're looking specifically at CFDs here, but the price is based on futures. What large liquidations can often signal is a short term, let's call it top or bottom of a steep price move, which may allow you then to gather some thoughts, look at things technically, and rebuild certain positions. But what we've seen so far, obviously, we had that large liquidation at least to the upside on Monday, but Monday. But then yesterday we had this large move higher, and you're thinking, okay, everyone's filling up on buys, fill your boots because we're taking off here, and then we got slammed lower. So obviously a lot of liquidations of shorts. I was explaining that the market was heavy short at this particular point yesterday, and then we saw that sharp move to the upside. A lot of leverage longs liquidated. I think I posted 78% of futures traders got wiped out and had losses on the Monday. Then yesterday, that really big move up earlier on in the day. It was around the US inflation, I think, that we actually carried on climbing because the data come in not too bad. Equities were feeling good. There was a decent risk on move. Carried on moving higher, and it was looking, for all intents and purposes, like we would definitely get a close above 25k. Remember, this 25k handle is all important, but, and this is a big but here because I'm going to move us to the line chart. Look at that. If you were to ignore the intraday movements, we would not be above 25k because the daily bar closed below 25k. So that's a bit of a problem in my eyes because you've seen a huge wick now to the upside, a lot of sellers in here, and that bit of a short squeeze seems to have been relatively short-lived, we saw that move down as well continue today in the trade, albeit we have just managed to pair some of them losses and we're moving back to around about flat on the day so far. But yeah, incredible volatility. It caused over 140 million in Bitcoin futures and 80 million in Ethereum futures to take on losses. 58% of futures losses came from shorts. So then 42% came from longs. So there you go. It was kind of like that mixed losses really, both longs and shorts feeling some pain on yesterday's daily bar. We've had the new yearly highs though from Bitcoin now. That's fair. We've had SVB failing, inflation remaining stubborn. I suggested the narrative which I've seen some crypto people suggest is that people are now looking at Bitcoin for some stability in some highly uncertain market conditions. I know it's pushing it a little bit because when you think of Bitcoin pricing, volatility, the moves that we see, it's anything but stable. But I did raise to Drew inside the chat room that some of these moves could have been on the back of the US banking system under a little bit of a mini crisis. We've seen Credit Suisse today as well. That's 21% down at the time of speaking. Shares in the European trade, so they're in a spot of trouble. I think one of their main investors has said that they're not going to give them the required funds which they were looking for. But I have seen, I think it was the CEO recently, or might have been, anyway, it was one of the top guys at Credit Suisse saying it doesn't. There's no worry. Let me just see here. Axel Lehmann said the government assistance isn't a topic at the moment for a struggling lender. But basically, we've seen the credit default swaps on Credit Suisse going vertical, which is basically the cost of insurance on a Credit Suisse default, which is now priced at 38%. You think the SVB default and collapse had created some volatility, let's call it, in markets, and Bitcoin was affected. If Credit Suisse goes, I think that'll trump it by a little bit of a distance, I would say, in terms of vols. So we watch that closely. Is it too big to fail? Possibly. Back to BTC. Many have looked at BTC I've been watching I've been watching Bitcoin's relationships with inflation. I've always argued that the relationship's actually inverse. Higher inflation has meant lower Bitcoin because it's meant Fed raising rates, and any risk asset has not been performing well in a higher rate environment with the aggressive central bank actions. So, at this particular point, though, the new narrative is that it's an alternative to the traditional financial system. So maybe that is the new narrative which is being squeezed in for the reason behind a rally this year. There's always a reason. 1790 on Ethereum is where we got to. That got knocked back. That was one of our levels yesterday on the charts. 1790 couldn't quite get through there. Decent size reversal, but nowhere near the same levels of volatility that you've seen on BTC, albeit still moving at a decent rate. Litecoin as well, we saw rejection off one of our overhead levels at 88. You can see two nice reversals on Ethereum and Litecoin, both at levels which we've had on our charts. And again, it's not just to give you these levels for no reason. We're saying, okay, when we get here, watch for pauses, watch for some profit taking. You might see a reversal, and we've done quite well over the past couple of days on some of these markets. So that's basically it for my info today. That's my thoughts. We'll continue to see how things develop for the rest of the trading session. Any further developments, we'll post them inside the crypto chat room. Thank everybody for listening as always, and all the best with your trading. Bye for now.